Hey, it's Travis again with the unnamed seed. I think I made a video about 4 days ago, and in that video I was taller than the corn. And look at the height of the corn now. It makes me think of my daughter who's 6 years old. Show me the different kind of corn you have.
I have like green corn, orange corn, or like red, yellow.
And every once in a while she'll pass some threshold where she looks more mature than she's ever been. You know, they're in the baby phase, and then at some point they're toddlers. And then at some point your toddler is a kid, right? And in each one of those phases, I feel like you have to mourn the loss of the baby that no longer exists, or mourn the loss of the toddler. Because you look, where's my baby? And I don't have one anymore. The garden, it feels like the same thing. This time of year in late June in Lawrence, South Carolina, every time I go to the garden, it's different than the time before. It's like that saying, you can never step into the same river twice. And that's like the garden. You can never visit the same garden twice. And you play the game of waiting, right? And wishing it would come faster when you sow the seed. And it seems like nothing is happening. And those little starts, when the roots are developing under the ground, you wish it was happening faster. Then you get to this point and you wish it would stop growing so fast, because you know that soon these plants will be fading. Let me show you the rest of the garden and how it's developing. So very much like my daughter, the sunflowers are growing taller and taller. And I think, weren't you just here yesterday? And with the sunflowers, it almost is the case, because they are literally taller than they were yesterday. We've got some zucchini here, tomatoes, which I'll show you in a minute, but check out this landrace winter squash. It's like a butternut squash variety. It's working hard to consume the entire garden with its vines, so I'm working hard to try to keep it against the trellis and give the other plants a little room. We've got some green beans. Yesterday we ate the first of our green beans for lunch. They were delicious. I'm gonna pick these today. Got cucumbers. I've had tons of pollinators. I don't know about right now, but this morning, wow. Just buzzing all around here. A nice green, beautiful slicing cucumber. And if you saw my previous video about the strength and vitality of this landrace variety, and how strongly it was gripping on to this trellis, you see the tenacity with which it holds on to the trellis versus some of these other plants that they just kind of throw tendrils out to nowhere. I ate one of those cucumbers and it looks like this one. It's spiky, it's got some white coloration, and I'm happy to report that they taste delicious. So that's important too, because you can get a strong plant that grows really well, but if the fruit is bitter or sour and you can't eat it, then there's no point in having a strong plant. So not only is this variety robust and powerful in its growth, it's also delicious in its taste. This is that landrace variety that I featured in the previous video. It's got kind of a whiter color on the cucumbers, typically. If you were watching that video and thinking, well, there's a couple plants beside it that are also tall, because I contrasted this plant that was more advanced in growth, taller and more vigorous than the general population of cucumbers that were shorter and less developed. If you're watching that video and you're thinking, well, there's a couple of tall plants beside it, well, what do you know? At least one of these other plants beside it is also the landrace variety. So that would help explain its height and fast growth, and also help to confirm my hypothesis that the landrace variety is both growing faster and more vigorous. The first of our tomatoes are starting to grow. I need to get the next line of thread set for this Florida weave trellising. And the tomatoes, they've already bounced back from that flooding we had, and it looks like they already need some more water, so I'm gonna do that as well. You can see a few more of these winter squash that are starting to set fruit here. There's one. A lot of them are hidden in the foliage as well, but some of these are a darker green. Looking beautiful. Well, that's a quick garden update here in late June in Lawrence, South Carolina, and also a couple of thoughts that I have, because I find that the garden is a generator of metaphors, an endless generator of metaphors. And I think that's because we watch plants grow from their birth all the way through that growth cycle, and then watch them fade and die, generation after generation. And we start to see the patterns that are mirrored in our own lives. So I'll be sharing many more updates and some thoughts like this. So think about subscribing if you're interested, and I'll update you with another video very soon. Take care.